Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us again for Naughty Dog Ranked. Today, we're going to be talking about Crash Bandicoot Warped, developed and created by Naughty Dog. Like, I know we've been playing the remaster, so we don't get that, but every time it's like Vicarious Visions, I still just hear, no, it's Naughty Dog. It'll always be Naughty Dog. So I am your host, Nick. Here with me today is my glorious...
life partner?
Yes. Hetero life partner, yes.
Yeah, my hetero life partner, Kevin. That's my name is Kevin.
Yeah.
I wear a helmet.
I wear a helmet. What? No, we can't do that. No. We're not allowed to anymore. It's not personal computer enough, okay?
Whoa, those are big words.
All right, so if you want to, you can get along. You can play along with us. Obviously, right now we're just finishing up the Crash Trilogy, so that means we're going to be going into the Jack Trilogy, then into the two racers that Naughty Dog made, which is Crash Team Racing and Jack X. Then going on to the Uncharted anthology, rather, and then ending with The Last of Us, just in time for The Last of Us Part 2 to come out, so that we have 2 weeks to finish that. How has been the grind, my boy?
It was, again, I never played this Crash as a kid, so getting into it, it was a definite grind.
Yeah.
I felt like, I don't know. I felt like there was more bosses on the second game, but the bosses were way harder on Warped than I felt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it was grinding.
Yeah.
It was a lot of pumping. The different types of the amount of different leveling I had was appreciated.
Yeah.
It gave me a good variety to where I didn't feel like I was being scrutinizingly grinding on just the same level.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I got a nice option.
Yeah. The grind for me has definitely been interesting. Once we get into the later ones, I do have to point one thing out. This week's PlayStation Plus game is the Uncharted Collection, and I literally just bought that before starting this series. So now we're talking about, 4 weeks ago that I bought it, and all of a sudden I could have gotten it for free. I won't lie, that kind of pisses me off. Not only that, but I want to say like several months ago, Lost Legacy was one that we could get for free, and that also happened to be a time where I didn't have PlayStation Plus because I'm poor. So it just happened. So that's another one where it's like, I think it is a part of PlayStation Now, so I could technically get it for cheaper just by going $9.99. But the problem there is that kind of like with Netflix, how they, phase certain ones out, they will eventually phase that one out, and I don't know if we're going to get to it in time for me to play it for a cheaper price. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. The grind definitely becomes more real at that point because it's like, oh no, money.
Can I make another comment about the PlayStation Plus? It's going to look a slight deterioration.
Mm-hmm.
Goat Simulator has been $5 for 7 years.
Yeah.
Why am I getting Goat Simulator for free?
I don't know. I don't even really know that much about it other than, I'm definitely going to check it out, but yeah.
Dude, it's stupid fun.
Stupid fun? Nothing wrong with that.
No, there is though. Like, you gave me a free game that was $5. It should have been free in the first place. But the amount of time that this game has been on sale and the amount of times that it's gone on sale for so cheap to finally just give it to everybody for free, like, it should have just been like a third add-on. Like, they've done that before where they've given us 3 games, 3 titles, 4 titles before.
That's a good point.
And I felt kind of underhanded.
Yeah.
Like, to start the year off, I felt underhanded.
Yeah. I feel like since it is the beginning of the year, I really wish they would have done something a little bit like giving us the Uncharted, collection. Boom. That's like a 1-2 punch right there. Well, technically 1-2-3 punch right there because we have a, top tier PlayStation exclusive to start the year off. And then Goat Simulator does seem like just such a throwaway game that it's almost like I wish they would have just been like, you know what, we're going to give you your year's worth in this first installation. And then like next month, it probably would have sucked. I mean, it's only got 28 days. What are they going to do? You know, so unless it's a leap year. Is it a leap year this year?
I don't know. That's math.
That math and stuff. Hey, I got a trick question for you. You ready?
Nope, but go for it.
Which month has 28 days?
You just said it. February.
All of them.
I hate you. I hate you.
I literally said trick question.
All right, well, I just want to break your brain now. I have a favorite ocean, and specifically, it's the Atlantic.
Dun, 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 dun.
But the Mediterranean's okay as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get the basic info out of the way for our listeners. We got Crash Bandicoot Warped, known in Europe as Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Not sure that was really necessary, but hey,
yeah,
Wikipedia will go ahead and wiki.
Those English people.
It's actually Crash Bandicoot 3. Like, if anything, the way the logo is, it's clear that it's Crash Bandicoot 3 because it's got the little clock, and the 3 is very kind of prominent in my opinion. So, other than on paper it being Crash Bandicoot Warped and then Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, it doesn't really matter. Anyways, 1998. So I want to say that makes it a whole year after the other one, right? So this is, I want to say 96, 97, 98. So we've gotten 3 games in 3 years. So they're kind of just plopping them out after one after another. So it's a platform developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Computer Entertainment System. For the PlayStation, it is the 3rd game, obviously. The game's story takes place immediately after the events of the 2nd game, which, yep, they definitely do. The ruins of a space station called the Cortex Vortex, owned by Dr. Neo Cortex, crash lands on Earth and unleashes the evil entity known as Uka Uka, which is Aku Aku's evil younger twin brother.
Ooh.
Who joins with Cortex and a time-obsessed Dr. Nefarious Tropy. And then they plan to gather the crystals because they can't do it because obviously we have all the crystals and we're just using them to like snort up like Rick Sanchez, am I right? But anyways,
yeah.
So now their whole plan is to basically go back in time and get all the crystals throughout time. So, boom, let's get into it. So you kind of already mentioned that you actually you skipped this one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
You skipped this one, and so this is actually your first time playing it.
Yes.
This is actually an interesting thing I wish we would have pointed out before, because me being just such a Sony pony for years and years, like I assumed that you already played it, the whole everything Crash and whatever. So it was interesting, me and you having like a conversation before we recorded and everything about how it is interesting, like you kind of coming in with this in fresh eyes. And to a certain extent, I almost wish we would have marketed it that way from the very beginning. Cause it was really like, it was my fault, honestly, that we didn't, but it's also good because we get to see, the veteran, so to speak. Me, I played all the games. I've gone through them all. I haven't 100% of them all, but at least to the point where it's like I definitely kind of know them in and out and stuff.
You've gotten your fill.
Yeah, and that was before the remaster at all. So I'm able to tell the differences, and obviously I've been hammering home the whole hitboxes, which I do have to admit, I don't know if it's just by chance, but I feel like Warped out of the 3 is the least problems I've had with hitboxes. Have you noticed that at all, or is that just me? Yes?
No,
okay, good. So I'm not psycho. But yeah,
no, that you are, but yes.
Well, yeah, thank you. It is something that like I wish we would have talked about before, because this is an interesting, you get to have an interesting take because you're able to look at it without the nostalgia classics. Classics? Wow.
Yeah, you need to stop.
Nostalgic
we should just not do this
glass.
today.
That glasses. So the nostalgic glasses. And so it's definitely something I wish we would have talked about before, but me being an idiot and just assuming that you've played them. So it's an interesting, we get to, and this one in particular, because you said you at least played the first two, even if the second one was just a demo. So this is the first one officially that you hadn't played like at all, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so overall impressions, you kind of already started, but let's get into the officialness of it now. Overall impressions, what would you say?
I mean, I still kind of stand on the same board that I was standing on with the first two, you know, neat game, puzzle game. I still hate it when I have to run it myself. I think that's fucking stupid, but I hate when I'm coming at myself. But other than that, I mean, it's a time waster, honestly, not in a bad way. It's like, you know, I got some time to kill. Let's knock out a couple levels, right? Story was a little more entailed, so I did enjoy that. I had a little bit more to go off of. I really did enjoy that, you know, instead of going to one level, you were fighting on this one level multiple times till you beat it, and then you get to move on to the next stage. In this one, you actually get to go to a bunch of different places, a bunch of different levels each time you move up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's five of them. Five. Something. Five. So it's neat. It's neat in that aspect. The bosses, way more hard. I mean, these ones were just... Ay chinga. I mean, it was just difficult, right? So, I got stuck a few times. I definitely death looped. Again, picking it up on the cheap, I would, you know, do it for me and the kids. But as an adult gamer today, without nostalgia, I wouldn't say this would be one that I would pick up.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad game.
For sure. Yeah.
A game fit for my style of gaming. I've known other Naughty Dog titles to be better, which I'm totally looking forward to.
Yeah, right.
Not that, and I don't want to downplay, I wasn't looking forward to Crash Bandicoot, because like I said, in the first one, I actually did get to dive back into my childhood with my son and stuff like that. Whereas the second one, I'm kind of like, I didn't really play it that much. I did the demo. And then the third one, like you said, it's just, for me, it's all new.
Yeah.
And
so what would you say is like your favorite thing that they changed, and then like your least favorite thing that they changed?
Oh, swimming. I love that.
Oh, yeah? Oh, you mean like the jet ski?
No, like the level where you were underwater.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Like, you get to go underwater, and you get to hold on to the little, like, jetpack, and you shoot missiles out of it. I enjoyed the crap out of that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
To know what changed that I didn't like, I don't know if I have anything to flat out pick up right off the bat. That wasn't something I accounted for. I didn't really go into it thinking like, okay, what am I not going to like that they're going to change, you know?
Right.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. For me, the biggest thing that I like, or it might be a little bit more broad than yours, but I like personally how they just added a really good example of like what they added that I really like is 1 and 2 are very much just platformers. That's it. Just period, dot, the end. Whereas this one feels like more of an action game. And it's because they added things like swimming, airplanes, motorcycles, you know, riding on the tigers, which technically we had that before, but I don't know. It just felt different in this one. I don't know why, but to me, it just felt way different. But adding all these different, you know, ways of going through a level, essentially. It's no longer just jump around, jump up, and get... It's so much more, you know, and I really liked... So mine's a lot more broad than yours because I just like that, you know. I'd say my least favorite thing... That one's a little bit harder because the rose-tinted glasses and everything. But I'd say the least thing that they added, that's hard.
Yeah, see, it's not just me.
Well, I mean, I would argue that I guess I didn't think about the question before I asked it because I was just kind of like trying to make content. But it's like, it is hard because the good thing about all of these that we can probably both admit is that each one has kind of built on the last
The platform.
one.
Yeah, they started with a foundation and they didn't. I don't feel that they deterred from it too much at all. They pretty much stayed on top of that platform. They didn't go out and away from it. And I agree with you 100% that they definitely stuck to their guns. They knew what they were going for, and they didn't deter. And I think that really worked out for them in the long run.
You know what? I will say least favorite is probably the motorcycles. Even though it is a nice, funnily enough, the first motorcycle level took me way longer than the second motorcycle level. And I'd argue, obviously, the second motorcycle level is harder because, or is it the third? I don't know. It's the very last set of levels, the motorcycle level in that one. And that one's way harder because the cop cars actually move back and forth. There's holes, there's really sharp turns. And somehow that took me 2 times, only 2 times. Whereas the first one took me like 10. And it was to the point where it was like, okay, you have to run this perfectly. And the second one, it was almost like they learned from the first one, you know, because the second one, like, it took me 2 times and I felt like I could make a mistake and still win. And that was a nice feeling because that first time I went on one of the first motorcycles, it was just so annoying because it's like I would not turn at the exact right moment and it would just be like, nope, you don't get to win, you know, by like 3 cars. And it's like, dear God, like, you know, it was one thing when I was like trying to get the boxes so that I could also get the gem or whatever, but I got the gem on like the first or second try, and then it took me like forever to get the crystal, and I'm like, come on. So I guess that's the least favorite, but at the same time, it is just nice to have the variety and to have so many different ways to play the game, you know. So as much as I didn't like it, at the same time, it's just nice, you know. So what did you feel about the superpowers?
With the way they detailed it within the story and kind of played it all out, I didn't feel that they were the worst thing. I honestly didn't really even. I don't think I took note. Like I said, man, I kind of ran through this one. Geez, it'd be hard for me to even pick which power I liked more than the other ones.
Oh, that's super easy. Freaking fruit bazooka.
The fruit bazooka was cool.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
But it also kind of seems like an easy button. It's just like, because you could just whip that thing out and shoot all the enemies in front of you and then just go whoop, whoop, whoop.
But I did like sneak shoes. I did like the sneak shoes now that I'm thinking about it. And rocket jump was cool.
Yeah.
Rocket jump came in handy when I really needed it.
Yeah.
No, but fruit bazooka. Okay. Yeah, fruit bazooka.
Yeah. The first one you get is like the super slam, and in the originals, so we're going back in time. The original, when you did the super slam, there was this little bit of a shockwave, and it was like an actual like circle or whatever. But in this one, you just kind of do a body slam, and then that's it. There's a little bit of effects to it, but like in the original game, I just remember when you did it, you would like spin around 3 times, hit the ground, there'd be a visible like shockwave or whatever. Whereas like this shockwave is more of like dust flying up further away from your body. So it was just like, that one seemed like a real big throwaway because it was just like, oh, okay, cool.
Right.
Then you get double jump. Double jump's really cool. Then you get the spinny one. The spinny one's really cool because if you double jump in the air and then spin, you can kind of hover down. And then I want to say, and then it's the fruit bazooka. I really like all the powers. The number one thing I would have to say that I really wish they would have really thought about more is I wish they would have created levels where it mattered, Because aside from some of the bonus levels, you don't really even have to use your powers. You know, it's like you unlock double jump, but then the next 5 levels don't have many places that double jump is even really needed.
Yeah.
And then same thing with the spinning. But you go to some of the bonus levels, and all of a sudden the bonus levels have these giant panels that say, hey, you should probably double jump and spin right here. Which kind of gets rid of the mystery. It's like, well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But see, they wouldn't have needed those panels if they would have created all the other levels with that in mind. So it definitely makes you think, theory time. Do you think maybe the superpowers were added in after, and so the only thing they could add it to are the bonus levels?
Like it was like an afterthought thing, and they just
like they're like, we need something extra, something little extra finesse. You know what I mean?
And then the boss was like, superpowers,
right? Because it just seems weird to get something like double jump, and the only time you use it is in a bonus round. They don't add like a secret area where double jump's really important, or, you know, there's certain times like you can use slam, but even then it's more of like, it's just nice to use it, not it's required to use it.
Also we got to think of when the game was created. It may have not have been a full functionality at that time. It might have been a cutting edge thing. To where they're like, hey, we can do this, but you don't really know what to do with it yet. But here you go.
Yeah, it just would have been nice, even if there would have been some like Metrovania kind of thing where now that I have the slam unlocked, I can go back to those first 5 levels and find something interesting.
Yes.
With the slam. And I don't feel like there's enough of that. I'm sure, you know, there are some secrets that are nice to use or whatever. Like the sneak in particular, like you can go onto Nitro,
right,
and you can sneak onto the Nitro. So I know there's some things to do with that, but there just wasn't enough. So it definitely it feels like an afterthought. It feels like they kind of throw it in maybe last minute, and they're like, you know, I don't want to create an entire level around this, so let's just do it in a bonus level. Right. And I don't know if that's true, but it feels like the only thing that makes sense logically.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Because, I mean, there's tons of games, like, before this, talking about, like, Metroid and, obviously, Castlevania, which is where the Metroidvania, you know, term comes from, where every time you'd unlock something, you could go back to previous places and find new things. And so it just would have been nice if that would have... Now, I don't know if they didn't want to do that because they didn't want to be compared to it, but still, it just would have been... It would have been a nice addition. It would have been a reason to play over and over again, other than the gems, other than the... You know, technically... The new thing they added, or one of the new things they added, is the time trials. Obviously, in the remaster, you can time trial all 3 games, but this is actually the first time they did time trials, was in Crash Bandicoot Warped. So,
right. Well,
so I mean, you do have that, but still, I don't know.
One of the current games in society is Star Wars Fallen Order. Not to get on that, but
true.
But Respawn is using that tactic to where later in the game, you unlock a new force ability to where you go back to one of the planets that you were on in the beginning stages and go back through it and find those extra little hidden compartments.
Absolutely. And it's something that has been established even before 1998. So it is something weird that just seems omitted, you know? And it's definitely not enough for me to be like, this is the worst game ever. But it is something that, especially replaying it within today's lens, it seems like a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And out of how much I love Crash Bandicoot, like it seems like just one of those extra things that just would have been like, oh man, that would have been so nice. It would have been the extra little bit to give it even more of a kick. So yeah, so something. So what would you say was your favorite level?
Anything with the freaking tiger. Anything.
Yeah.
Anything with the cute little tiger.
Little tiger.
I enjoyed riding the tigers.
Would you say that you had an eye of a tiger?
I did have the eye of the tiger. Least favorite level, again, running towards yourself. I think
the dinosaur.
Yes.
Now, in the game's defense, though, I liked how they changed it from running away to a side scroller,
Yes.
and then back to running to, like, that's cool.
Okay.
And I feel like it's the first time it happened, because if you were running towards the screen, you were always running towards the screen. And so it was such a nice change of pace to like suddenly change it up.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I did when I first came across that, because like I got into the level and I'm like, great. Oh, it's not a boulder this time. Instead, it's a giant freaking Triceratops.
Right.
I was okay with it. Although when you're jumping over the lava in some areas, if you don't jump over the right spot, you're screwed.
Yeah. Okay. So that is the one time the hitboxes taketh away from me.
Yeah.
Because 1 and 2 I feel like were the biggest offenders when it came to the hitboxes. Obviously, we talked ad nauseum about that, so I won't go into it too much. But that was one time where I got stuck in a death loop, and I'm like, I know I'm jumping at the right time.
Yeah.
It's just being picky.
Yeah.
You know, and every time I tried to jump early, I would land too soon. And it's like, make up your mind.
Yep. No.
So, yeah, totally.
But once I got to that first curve that takes you to the right, you know, like you're running towards yourself and then boom, you get to go to the right. I was like, oh God, thank God. And then I was going for a bit, enjoying it. Like, I'm going to finish the level this way. And all of a sudden it's like, son of a boop. I couldn't believe it. I was running towards myself again. I was way upset. But no, I mean, I don't know. I do really like the swim. And I'm one of those people that hates underwater missions all the time. Like, I hate underwater missions.
Yeah.
And there's only one game to blame for it.
Mario.
Zelda, Ocarina of Time. That game made me hate. That game made me hate underwater levels so effing bad.
Yeah.
The water temple on Ocarina of Time was ridiculous hard. It was just overly. Anyways, so for me to say like I enjoyed the water levels, that's kind of a big step.
Yeah. It's a big tell.
It actually says a lot about the game when they're able to take one of my most hated things and make me enjoy it. So I'll give them that.
Yeah.
I really like the water levels. I didn't mind the jet skiing. The jet skiing seemed a little more fluid than it did in the second one. But not.
Plus, it was more open. Because, I mean, the jet skiing was really just this surfboard. You had a very set path that you had to go to. I do like how this one was just like, it kind of gave you an open area, even though you still had to stay within the, parameters, so to speak. It was way more open.
Yeah, definitely more open on this one. But yeah, I mean, that's where I'd have to put it all. Right there.
Yeah.
What about you, bud?
What was the question?
What was your favorite level and what would be your least favorite level?
Okay. I'd have to say I'm mentally going through them. I have to say, from a concept, the airplane one, where instead of shooting down the blimps, you're shooting down the other planes or whatever, the bombers.
Yeah.
That one, for a conceptual point, I really like those. But from just a, classic jumping one, I'd actually have to say probably the one with the dinosaur. So much so that it like the dinosaur is actually pretty prominent on some of the cases of Warped. Like if you look, I think it's even the one on the wiki page. Let me look. Yeah, see, you have Crash. He's on his motorcycle. Coco, she's on Tiger, and there's a little dinosaur back in the background. Yeah. Obviously, I feel like part of it was because Yoshi and everything. But no, there's a level with a dinosaur, and it was so much fun that it's like I wish they would have done another one with a dinosaur. But no, you get one chance with a dinosaur, 2 with the tiger. So I feel like there's some definitely speciesists going on, but we're not going to get into that because this is not a political podcast. Okay,
but the tiger was so cute. No, I get what you're saying.
No, I agree.
I thought the dinosaur level was fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Least favorite, I do think, is that motorcycle. So I already kind of touched on it, but it's just because of how freaking precise you had to be.
And
so annoyingly precise. And it's so weird because, like I said before, the second one isn't as precise. So it's just so weird. Like, I almost, like, they learned their lesson on the second one, but they didn't go back and be like, all right, maybe we should make this one a little bit easier because the second one's so much better. Or, you know, so it's just weird. It's just weird. If anything, they should have been flipped. The harder one should have been on the last stage, and then, you know, vice versa and everything. So yeah, weird. A couple of new things and a couple of things I wish I would have brought up last time. Bonus levels now feel more a part of the level rather than just being a whole separate area.
Yes.
And that's basically akin to when you jump on it, instead of it going and then it goes to a black screen and then you just appear somewhere, you actually like fly throughout the level, and like it usually does some like really cool dynamic things. Like maybe you go around the backside of a pillar, so it makes you feel a lot more immersed in the world. Yep. They started it a little bit in number 2, but then I feel like very few bonus levels in number 3 went to a black screen and then had you just go somewhere. They did it almost for every bonus level, and I really like that. It made it feel much more of a 3D world.
Yeah, and when you got exactly. And when you got to the end of it, there wasn't, you know, a little person waiting there with all the counters and everything. You got to the end and you hopped back on the platform and you went right back to the game, and it's like you said, you don't feel like you're losing any time. You don't feel like you're losing you know, not that you would be losing anyway, but you don't feel like you're in, like you said, it makes you feel like you're still part of that realm, like you're still part of that area.
Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I'll agree with that.
Another thing I really liked, so number 1, there were maybe a few instances where your death animation would be something unique. Number 2, they added a couple. And then number 3, I feel like they dialed it up to like 11, because I feel like part of the fun sometimes is dying on purpose just so I can see how I die. You know, it's like there's one guy, it's in the medieval one, and he spins the sword around. If you spin the sword around, you know, you'll get cut in half and your legs will keep walking, and you'll just sit there like all pissed off, like, hey, where are you going?
Yep.
There's the one guy with the sword in the kind of like the Aladdin stages, you know what I mean? And if he cuts you with the swords, he'll cut up your pants, and then you'll, like, you know, cover yourself up and be like, oh no. So yeah, there's just so many more like death animations, and like I said, that was definitely the number 1 thing I forgot to mention about number 2, but it's even more appropriate now because they pretty much not every by all means, but a lot of the characters had a death animation, and they were different. You know, right. There were a few set ones, like I think, you know, in the futuristic one, it has that little like roly-poly thing that it'll shut, and then when it opens, it has like these like spikes that come out.
Yeah.
That one pretty much you just turn into ash. So that one's kind of canned, and it's very much like other ones. But then there's like some where you hit a spike and then like you deflate, and I'm like, that's hilarious.
When you get ran over and you get smushed up against the window and your tongue's hanging out, or you become flattened and you turn into the paper.
Yep.
There's all the little ones that I'll give you that. Those are fun.
It's just fun to see. Oh, like, how am I gonna die this time? You know, and something quirky and just fun in general like that makes it so that when you die, it can be frustrating sometimes, but then when I get turned into a chicken or something, it's like, oh, okay. One of my other favorite ones is the frogs. The frogs will jump on you, kiss you, and then turn into a prince, and I'm like, I see what you did there.
I didn't notice that, but that's cute.
Yeah. So I like it. All right, so now
I never got killed by a frog. Ha ha ha!
Oh, look at you, mister. All right, so boss time.
No,
favorite boss?
No, I don't want to talk about him.
Least favorite boss?
I don't want to talk about him. Dingo Dial was a lot of fun. Tiny Tiger was kind of cool. But like I said, we only got 4 bosses, so you don't really get a lot to choose from. You have your typical boss, Dr. Neo Cortex, who, fighting him was like, okay, I fought him twice already now,
True. Very true.
Dingodile I thought was cool. It's a dingo and a crocodile, and he's got this freaking, like, hammer thing. It's just a pain in the butt. I would say Dingodile would have been my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just because he launches those fireballs, not hammer. God, why did I say hammer? I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, he doesn't have a hammer.
He doesn't have a hammer.
He doesn't have a hammer. So Dingodile shoots fireballs at you and rockets, and he's kind of a pain in the butt. But if you use the right patterns of dodging and diving, dip, dive, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You use all those things, and you're able to beat him. I think he's fairly simple to beat. Probably the easiest out of the few. My most infuriating, nauseating, nefarious type of boss to beat would probably Dr. Nefarious Tropy.
Yeah.
He's stupid.
Yeah, that one night, he'll basically each time you get less platforms to jump on to get to him, and I could see that. I think I'd have to agree with you. Other than Cortex, just because it's our third time fighting him, and even though there's a little bit of newness because now the masks are also fighting themselves, so that's kind of cool. But at the same time, I feel like he's not really doing anything different. I mean, Number one, you're on a blimp. He's shooting balls at you. Number two, jetpack. I mean, so that one's a little bit different. But then number three, he's back to shooting balls at you.
Yep.
So at least even though the jetpacks are annoying as hell, the one thing you can give it is that at least you were fighting him in a different way. Whereas this one, going back to essentially fighting him the same way you did in the first game, kind of just seems like, oh man, why didn't you try to think of something a little bit more unique,
Yeah.
Favorite for sure is still my boy Engine. Like, getting to get in that spaceship and then you take down all his weapons. He like transforms and gets into another one, and all of a sudden he has even more life bars, and that one's nice because it's an airplane rather than the most you can get hit if you have like two masks is you can get hit 3 times.
Right.
Whereas in this you could get hit probably, I think, 4 or 5 times. So it's like, it's way more forgiving. And so even though he has way more health, you also have like way more health as well. And then when he transforms, you also get the tiger, and he comes in a little spaceship and attaches to you. So you have even more firepower. And so like, that one's just so much fun because I just really like, I like the airplane levels for sure. I feel like they were just a really nice change of pace out of all the other changes of paces. So, the spaceship and like Engine or whatever, he's always I feel like in Crash Bandicoot in general, Engine is probably one of my favorite characters,
Right.
Even if he is a little bit of tropey in the sense that, oh yes, master, I'm coming to your lair.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so since we are at the end, then let's go ahead and say what's our favorite character. I'm gonna go with Engine because that's my boy. I like Engine. But then my runner up, I'm trying to go through like all the different ones. I think I don't know his name. Darn it. I'd have to say my runner-up is the polar bear. I know he actually has a name, though, and so it's frustrating me that I don't know it. But the polar bear, I'd say, is my second, just because in Crash 2, my favorite level was the one where I get to ride him as a giant polar bear is coming towards me. And so I say, for my second character, I have to say him. So what about you? What's your favorite? What's your runner-up as far as characters?
Oh... Jeez. Well, Papu.
Is your number one?
Yeah, just because he's always got my back.
Gotta get some thick boy love in there, huh?
He's always got my back,
Yeah.
Jeez, Ripper Roo was fun.
Mm-hmm.
In the first and second game.
No love in number 3, though.
No.
Which at the same time, it's like,
Coco,
what else could they have done with them?
Coco. I mean, I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Engine is a lot of fun. I mean, you can't go wrong there. To say I have a favorite would be really kind of hard. But Ya Panda is funny. Ya Panda is a good change of pace.
Ya Panda, is that the tiger's name?
No, that's a giant panda who appears in Crash Bandicoot Nitro Kart. Are you just talking about 3? Are you talking about the whole Crash
I'm just talking
series?
about the trilogy, since those are the ones we've played so far.
Well, nobody. They all suck.
They all suck. They all just suck. I hate him and I don't like him.
I don't like him. I don't. No. Yeah, Engine or Coco would be in my top 2.
Okay.
My most hated... Nefarious.
My most hated... Yeah. You know, I think I'm going to go back to the original, like the machine gun mouse. I don't know. Just seemed weird. Maybe a little stereotypical. Like, oh, he's a rat, so let's make him a Boston guy. And it's like, I didn't really like him. I didn't feel like especially like his boss battle was just not very inventive. I didn't like his character. I don't know. Just in general, I didn't really like him. So,
right.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. I'm trying to think. I mean, we've kind of covered everything. So let's go ahead. Let's get into the time of the show where we gotta rank this. Okay, so far, Crash Bandicoot 2's up at the top with Crash Bandicoot 1 at the bottom. Where would you personally rank this one?
Between the 3.
Yeah.
It was better. It was better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was better.
So would you go 3-2-1 essentially?
I would go 3-1-2.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I would go 3-1-2. Not that 2 was bad. Not that there was anything wrong with it. And yes, it did give us more, but playability-wise, 3-2-1. 3-1-2. So far.
Yeah. I definitely think I'm 3-2-1. You know, we kind of talked about it on last episode. The main reason being the story.
Yeah.
You know, for 2. 2, I really feel like that story, the fact that they added the story, and 1 is kind of just like boop, boop, boop. So adding the story, adding the animation, adding the voice acting, you know. But then number 3 is above 2 for me. And it's kind of for the same reason. I like the time twisting aspect. I like the fact that now every level has its own kind of, you know, stuck in time kind of feeling to it. We go back to dinosaur age. We go forward into the future. You know, we go into space.
Into
you know,
the future. Yeah, no, I agree.
In the year 2000.
Well, and here's the thing. When I say, like, I liked 1 better than 2, and you're like, well, it's just kind of like bloop, bloop, bloop. The thing is that's kind of what I liked about it, was that it was just...
True. I can see that.
You know, it was just direct, straightforward, and I enjoyed that. I didn't... It was a good enough game on its own that I didn't feel that I had to have all that nuance, extra flargon.
Flargon jargon?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, 3-2-1. But yeah, I like the time. Oh, I was saying the time traveling. I like the story in general. I like the story to it. It's so much better as far as, you know, just getting to see new you know, characters, the levels themselves. The fact that once again it went from just being a, you know, jumpy, you know, boop, 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 going from that to now it feels more like an action game. I'm swimming, I'm flying, I'm riding on a tiger, which once again, I know we did it. We did Hog Wild in number 1.
Really like her. Cheated on my gastroenterologist.
We did it in 1 with a hog.
Yeah.
We did it in 2 with the polar bear. And we still did it in number 3. So, but first, I don't know why. I literally don't know why. Other than it added the time travel aspect where now we're in, like, you know, we're in ancient China. And so we're like riding along the Great Wall. So maybe that's the part that kind of sticks out to me, rather than the other ones just seem a part of Australia, you know? Oh, I guess not, because you have a polar bear, but that's really not the point, sir.
Right.
But I really like that everything that they added to this, the superpowers, the the different levels or whatever, definitely just makes it way better than 2 and 3. So I mean, 1, it's the most basic, and that's not a bad thing. 2, we get the story, we get the, it starts feeling like an actual, universe to be a part of. And then 3, they just, and this is definitely something, and maybe it's just a telling of the times or whatever, but it's so amazing that we got 1, 2, and 3 within a year of each other.
Yep.
And each one just kept getting better. If you did that nowadays, the third one would be crap. The third one would be unfinished. You'd have to have DLCs for it just to finish the story. You'd have microtransactions, all this BS. There's no way you could do 3 games in a row unless they were episodic. Like if it was a Walking Dead game, or, one of those Telltale games or whatever. That's the only way you could have 3 games within a year of each other and each one end up being better.
Right.
And I definitely feel like that's something to point out. The fact that the fact that Naughty Dog did this, And I mean, just, the best part about this trilogy, and especially the replaying of the trilogy, is kind of seeing where Naughty Dog started. I cannot wait to get to the the Jack trilogy. I cannot wait to get to the Nathan anthology and The Last of Us, because it's like, this is where it started, and it does nothing but get better in most cases. I know I said this last episode, it's going to get way harder from this point on in the ranking.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, is Jack 1 better than 2? In what ways is it better? Is 2 better than 3? Now we have Uncharted. Oh no, where does Uncharted fit? Because, Uncharted, the very first one, would I say it's better than Jack 1 and 2? So that's when it's going to start really getting hard. We're going to have like debates. We're going to have to really talk about, okay, what is it? You know what I mean? Because I haven't replayed them for a while now, so it's not fresh in my mind, which is part of the reason we're replaying them in the first place.
Right.
But like, if I had to, in my mind, I don't know if I would put Jack above, or I think I would put Jack above Uncharted, because Uncharted 1's really good, but it's also just kind of pulp action. So it's kind of just there. But once again, that's without replaying them for a really long time. Now that I'm going to have that chance to replay them, I can't wait.
Right.
I hope you guys, play with us. Now that you have the Uncharted trilogy free to play, don't have an excuse. Granted, you still have to buy Jack trilogy, but actually, that might be something on PlayStation Now. Somebody in the comments or on our Discord, let us know. Discord you can find in our description, so you can go there. Let us know. I almost want to say Jack trilogy actually might be on PS Now, so spend $9.99, play all 3 of them along with us, and then get rid of it for the next month. What I mean?
That sounds like a good idea.
Right? Don't just make sure it doesn't auto update, which you can do that, go to your account settings, go to your services, and then just make sure that it doesn't auto update, and boom, you get it for 1 month. You get to play all 3 games. And then, Uncharted, as long as you have PlayStation Plus, get it, boom, you got it. I'm still kind of mad that I got it beforehand, but things are, from this point on, I feel like, let me know if you agree or disagree. I feel like the Crash Trilogy is the easiest for me. Obviously we disagree on the order, but for me, the Crash Trilogy is the easiest because it's just a clear, progression. From here on out, it's going to get harder to rank.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. With the Drake series and, like you said, Jack, it's just, I have a feeling that Crash, no offense, is going to drop close to the bottom of the list.
Yeah, but it's also not a bad thing, because this is, like I said, that's the funnest thing about it, is that we get to see where Naughty Dog started. And so that's been the funnest thing about Go Back. For me, it's been those rose-tinted glasses for sure. But at the same time, it's a company that I love. It's a company that I've literally grown up with. When I was a kid, I was playing Crash. when I was in my kind of teenage years, I was playing Jak and Daxter. Those were a little bit more edgy. You know, when I was in my, higher teens, that's when Uncharted came out. And now there's like, I'm killing people, I'm shooting guns and everything. And then The Last of Us, I was a full adult, and that is a full adult game for sure.
100%.
So, and then I'd even say Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 is very much more of an adult film because it's like, Nathan Drake looking back at all his adventures, and it's like that's definitely what I'm doing in my 30s. So yeah, I mean, like I can't wait. It's so much fun. Please, guys, let us know, what are you thinking? What's your ranking so far? Crash 1, 2, 3. Let me know. Let us know. What do you think? What's your ranking? Do you agree with me 3, 2, 1 or with Kevin with his 3, 1, 2? What's your guys' ranking? Let us know down in the comments below, or at TX3 Productions on Twitter, ThreadX3 Productions on Instagram, YouTube, or you can go to threadx3productions@gmail.com to get a hold of us directly. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us. I was your host, Nick.
And I'm your boy, Kevin, and that's thick with 2 C's.
Kevin. Ooh. Thank you for tuning in to Naughty Dog Ranked Episode 3.
Stay naughty, dogs.